The 15 Manifest System, Deep Sleep Review, the 15 Manifest System for getting the life that you want, for breaking through and releasing all that critical inner dialogue to create the life that you want and manifest your dreams. I'm giving you an upfront review today in this special podcast on the 15-minute manifestation deep sleep system. And hey everyone, James Nussbaumer, thank you for participating in another episode of For a Better Life podcast. You know, before we talk about how to break through and release all that critical inner dialogue that's holding you back in life, and how the Deep Sleep Now system, the 15-minute manifestation system, may help you. And what I had found out is that, first of all, I've got several subscribers on my Everyday Miracles newsletter list, actually thousands of followers. And then I have a mastermind group that's several hundred. And on both of those groups, both of those lists that get email newsletters from me, and by the way, if you're not a subscriber, I urge you to, but I had sent out a questionnaire on the ones that have used the 15-minute manifestation system, and which is also subtitled The Deep Sleep Now, and to give me some pros and cons, because I own the system myself. And so I wanted to mix my feelings about how I feel about it along with my subscribers. And I have to tell you that I didn't get any negative feedback from anyone, but there were people that brought up, you know, when you talk about pros and cons, the cons to it. And not that it's a con, you know what I mean, not really a negative, but maybe some kind of a setback to it for certain people. So I want to discuss that today too. But so how do you break through and release all that deep-seated critical thought that's within you based on fear and doubt that just won't let you achieve your dreams and get the life that you want? Well, here's what I learned, and I didn't need to spend hours or years meditating, which I actually did. For those of you that know my story, I spent 8 years in a state penitentiary over a foolish securities violation as a financial advisor, where I had spent 25 years in that business. And boy, did an example setter judge bring me to my knees. I lost the battle in court, and I was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Well, it was in my 8th year when a higher court had come around and released me, thanks to my lawyer that knew what to do. But it took 8 years to get me out of prison. So during that time I'd written, and for those of you that know me, my 3rd book of the series is now out and available. But that's not the subject today of my books, because if there's a link in the description area, by the way, down below, that will take you to a blog at my website that tells the story on it tells more on the review here of the system, of the 15-minute manifestation system, Deep Sleep Now, but also you'll be able to see my book series there at my website and more about my personal story. But let me first say that when I first was released from prison, which was in 2015, here we are 2018, and I immediately jumped on this system. Now, keep in mind, while I was in prison, there was no computer access at all whatsoever, so I was in the blind of anything available out there. And as soon as I got out, I ran into the 15-minute manifestation system, Deep Sleep Now, and I had to get it, because I spent 8 years in prison every day writing from the principles contained in A Course in Miracles, the spiritual metaphysical principles of A Course in Miracles. And that's what my book series is based on, a reflection of A Course in Miracles. And of course, I talk a lot about my experiences in prison and all the things, the ugly things that happen. And believe me, it's a literal hell on earth in a state penitentiary. Why I went to a state penitentiary, which is much worse than a federal prison, that's another story. But anyways, I ended up in a state prison, which was very much around, is very much worse than the white-collar prisons of federal prisons. So anyways, that's not the subject matter today, but I was able to bypass all the time-consuming techniques and go straight to the source, the subconscious. And I had other people that messaged me that said that it only took them a few short minutes a day. And so we've made notes of this. And By the way, the author of the system, Sergey, and I had passed on my notes to him as well too, and he appreciated it. But I was able to make corrections to my subconscious thought patterns, and so they rejected any wrong-minded, ego-based thoughts that were deeply rooted. The thoughts that continue to hide themselves somewhere and seed themselves in you to when you're ready to take action on something. All of a sudden fear and doubt creep up and hold you back from doing what you know you should be doing, that kind of a thing. Well, I'm sure by now you're probably asking some questions and how I'd first discovered this, wonderful program, which I just told you I, was surfing online. First of all, when I first got out of prison after 8 years, I was just foreign to a computer. I remember my sister around my age trying to hold my hand and show me how to copy and paste. You'd think I would have known that before I went to prison for 8 years, but somehow you kind of forget about these things and you need a quick jolt of somebody to help you. As humans, and especially when you're in a shock and all type situation that I was in. And by the way, while I was in prison, I had witnessed 7 murders in the 8 years I was in there. And a state prison is really that bad. It's terrible. So my point is when I got out, I had a lot of mental work to do. My first book was already on sale. Believe it or not, yes, my first book, The Master of Everything, was on sale. As I walked out of prison, I landed, that's a long story, but it's explained in my book. I landed a mainstream publisher for my books, and my third book just a few weeks ago was released. By the way, today is May 7th, 2018, and this is a special podcast. Usually my podcasts are held every Sunday, my live podcast, but we jumped in for a special podcast on this to get to the root of the 15-minute manifestation system and how it will help you as it's helped me and many of my subscribers on my list. And by the way, most of my subscribers are readers of my books. And like I said, I have a mastermind community within that, thousands of people that I have on my regular newsletter list, which is for free. Please join it and sign up. I give helpful hints and updates on things all the time. But we have a mastermind group that's closely knit, and there's a subscription fee on that. But that's at my website too, under subscriptions, jamesnussbaumer.com. But I'm not here selling that today, okay? But if you ever want to look into being a member of my mastermind group, take a look there at jamesnussbaumer.com under subscriptions. So how does the 15-minute manifestation work? Because it's what the questionnaire, like I told you, had sent out. Now, one person said, she had said to me from over in the Netherlands area, she had said, let me explain something to you, James, in some simple terms. She goes, this deep sleep now, 15-minute manifestation system, it's a technology that really brought my mind, and she goes, I didn't know if it was my mind or my brain, into a state, and by the way, that state is called a Theta state, Theta, Theta. An Englishman might call it Theta, but us in America, we call it a Theta state almost instantly. And it's actually a miracle-minded state, really, is what it is. And this is where the magic, but not really magic, miracles start to happen. And this is where the power of the subconscious mind is receptive to messages. And she went on to explain, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what this woman from the Netherlands had told me. That she's in my mastermind group, and she had said that I experienced in some clear imagery and some old memories that I had forgotten about. And, it was like some intuition was coming through to me that what was going to happen and what I should do next to set about on the goals that I'm trying to accomplish in my life, she had said. Well, and I'll add to this, when I first started using the system, I wasn't asleep, and I did, I forgot. It helped me to forget some of my horrible thoughts from prison and go on to what I needed to start doing now and start taking actions. Lo and behold, here's 3 years later for me, I'm out of prison. And my third book now is on sale everywhere books are sold. In fact, it's called And Then I Knew My Abundance. and also at my website, jamesnussbaumer.com, which if you're at YouTube listening to this, I will have that included in the description area down below. And if you're already at my website, then you know, if you're listening to this at my website. But the 15-minute manifestation is the last, let's say, tool in your toolbox that you may ever need, and it only takes really 15 minutes a day. I like to do it longer than that because I love it. It's comfortable. But 15 minutes a day is a little bit of the marketing angle to it. Of course, anything good needs some kind of a marketing angle to get sold, because it is a good product. And I give it a huge thumbs up for me. So we're going to get to what may not be good for you in a second, what the cons of this could be. But really, all you need is a pair of headphones, and you plug in and you take it for minutes a day and you build on this. But by utilizing your brain's naturally occurring theta waves, which is really miracle-mindedness, the same miracle-mindedness or waves of thought that occur in sleep and deep meditation, they kind of reprogram your thoughts of what need to be done. In other words, they reprogram the fear and doubt that's holding you back. It make you feel very comfortable and soothing about taking action on what you need to do next. In my books, I talk about that as being the Holy Spirit coming through and whispering in your ear saying, it's okay, do this next to achieve your true free will. So, another article that I'd written at my website, I've got hundreds and hundreds of articles, blog articles that I've written. I'd written another review on the 15-minute manifestation, and I hope that you'll look that up too. You can just go to jamesnussbaumer.com/15-minute manifestation. But it certainly is a product, and Sergey, he's a British man, an Englishman. He has created something that I thoroughly have to endorse, and it really is a breakthrough for personal transformation, helping you to go deep within yourself and literally, reprogram all that crap that's been given to you or that you accepted somehow along the way. Now let's try to be clear about something, that this product is really all about, how does it impact our lives by simply, really, truly, how it does is tuning the subconscious, like tuning a guitar or tuning a piano, turning your mind into an action-taking machine to achieve your dreams is what it does. But during the post-recession period, I call it a recession period, when I was down for a while in that state penitentiary for 8 hellish long years in the volatile and often violent den of the cell block, and where I would write every day. And believe me, it was violent. There was times where in some of the journals I still have that I was able to get out of prison, there's blood spatterings on my journals because somebody was in a fight behind me and they got punched in the nose or whatever. And even more than that I don't want to describe here in this podcast, but I guess I just had to throw that out there to let you know what a severe trauma this was for me. So when I first found the Deep Sleep Now 15-minute manifestation system, I took some time with it as I was getting on my feet and adjusting to the outside world, and all the while in the back of my mind knowing I got to get up and get moving to start promoting my books so I could please my very wonderful publisher who's behind me, Ozark Mountain Publishing Company. And all 3 of my books, by the way, are published by Ozark Mountain Publishing Company. And I'm so happy to be with this wonderful family, a live stream publisher that's just wonderful. But anyways, but more than that, what has impressed me about the 15-minute manifestation is that, it's my own story that I'm trying to get to you, is that, I did an interview within 60 days after my release from prison. I did a radio interview. Actually, it was a television interview on the computer from a guy named Kevin Moore, who has the Moore Show in the UK. And I was just fresh out of prison, and he had interviewed me because my publisher had set it up and they knew I was right out of prison. And he was very gentle with me, But now, 3 years later, as I look back on that first interview and I replay that to myself, and I was just starting the 15-minute manifestation system then for myself, excuse me, I couldn't believe that how much I have grown since then compared to then. Mindfully is all that I can say. So you have to give it a good bit of time. And by the way, you can catch that interview on the Moore Show, Moore, Kevin Moore, Moore. He calls it the Moore Show. And you can just go to the Moore Show and put in James Nussbaumer. And I've done a second interview on my second book too, called Mastering Your Own Spiritual Freedom by Kevin Moore. And I was a little better off then because that was another year later. So he has not interviewed me yet for the third book, but he's on his way to be doing that. And anyways, I think you get where I'm coming at here. But so I got to try out the first audio tracks with the headphones that in this deep sleep now 15-minute manifestation, and I just for a week. And I must say that in the first few minutes, something just kind of happened with me. That I knew that I didn't know what was happening, but I knew that I just had to keep going with this. Something was moving and churning and burning inside of me that was very positive and optimistic, without fear and without doubt and without question. It was the theta waves that you might want to say, which is really the miracle mindfulness, uncovering the light, the darkness in you fading away is really all that is how I explain that in my writing. But I'm telling you that if you believe in spiritual metaphysics and how to create the life that you want, then this system will help you get the life you want. But if you think metaphysics and spirituality, is a bunch of hogwash, and if you think that the body is who you are, and then when the body dies, that's it, and if you think the universe is just something up in the sky, then this is not for you. Spiritual metaphysics, and I'm sure if you've listened this long into this podcast today, For a Better Life podcast, you're not one of those, and one of those people that think that way, and that's okay, because the world from generations past has taught us to think that the body is who we are. But spiritual metaphysics teaches that miracles happen within ourselves, not within the body, within the essence of who we are. So what I like about Sergey's 15-minute manifestation Deep Sleep Now system, it helps you to go beyond that woo-woo magic kind of thing, that we hear about, and just go deep within oneself and learn how to uncover the light that's within you. Where we go beyond any hocus pocus nonsense, straight to miracles. And, but the cons, I will add one more time, the cons to the 15-minute manifestation, Deep Sleep Now, yields good results when you follow the course and listen to the audio tracks daily. I mean, every day for the entire period of at least 3 weeks and longer, really every day of your life. But if you don't have the attitude of giving it 3 weeks, then it's not for you, because therefore you don't believe within yourself, within the essence of who you are. But I don't think that you are that, I don't think you have those limiting beliefs that way if you're listening to me thus far along into this talked about being interviewed. I'm sorry, into this podcast today, For a Better Life podcast. So if you are one of those individuals who just collects programs and puts it on the shelf and doesn't do anything with it, then it's not going to do anything for you. But if you are one of those individuals that likes to dive into a program, do what's best take the best out of it that you can get, and then all of a sudden maybe things are going well and you liked it, you knew it was good, but now you put it on the shelf thinking, because always in the back of your mind you're going to think, hey, when I'm weak again, I'm going to pull it back off the shelf and start over again. Because I have programs like that I do with myself. I have bookshelves loaded with a library, my own personal library of things that I've went through the program, and then I'll put it back on the shelf and go on to something else. But then later I might say, hey, I need to dive back into that deep sleep now 15-minute manifestation. And I'll pull it back off the shelf, and for another 2 months, go and do it again every day. So it's always at my disposal. If you keep a personal library with that kind of intent for whenever you need it, or for maintenance. But when you first start with this system, you want to dive into it like a beginner, like a newbie. And then once you feel you're on top of things and you feel that you might not want to progress to something else, good. Put it on your bookshelf. Keep in the back of your mind that, hey, it's there if I need a refresher down the road. That's manifestation. That's the power of manifestation working. And if you are a thinker that way, you're going to go a long way. In fact, you're already on track for accomplishing your goals and objectives in life and manifesting the life that you want. I hope this made sense. I hope you're thinking a lot about your own life. By the way, in the description area of the YouTube video, the Deep Sleep Now free ebook is available for you. The access link is right there. Click on it. I've got more links in there, but you might have to click on where it says show more to expand that area if you're at YouTube. If you're at my blog article listening to this, then you'll see a picture, an image on the blog article of the 15-minute manifestation ebook that you can click on and download your free ebook and go from there. I hope this helps. I hope it was beneficial. And like I always like to say, are you really thinking about your own life and the natural beauty and the awesomeness that you possess inside, and that you need to start learning to extend that to the material world and make it a reality you can call your own, which makes your life situation better and makes the world a better place? Thanks for listening to me for a Better Life podcast. James Nussbaumer signing off. God bless.